Gravel racing is back, and last weekend Ian Boswell took the podium at Unbound Gravel on a Specialized Diverge. Did his setup help him win? Let's break it down. Let me start by saying how excited I am to have gravel racing back after the last 18 months of craziness. Having events canceled, now finally having it back, and to actually think about my own gravel race and cycling adventures in the future. I'm super excited about it. So there's two questions I really want to answer in this video. The first one is, do videos like this or articles covering the bikes of winners actually motivate you to go out and change your bike to that setup or buy that particular bike? Or is it more about the rider? The more important question, the one that's more meaningful to me, do events like this motivate you to ride? For myself, I'll answer those questions near the end of this video, but go ahead and leave your comments down below and let me know what you think. If you're new here, my name is Joe. I love bikes and adventures on them. If you're into that, hit the subscribe button. And if by the end of this video you found it helpful or entertaining, click the like button. So let's break down Boswell's bike. To start off, let's admire the retro aesthetic of Boswell's Specialized Diverge. Specialized actually had 3 different bikes painted in this scheme, which is an homage to the Rock Combo from 1989, which is widely considered the first gravel bike, even though they didn't have the name gravel bike then, it was a mountain bike. In addition to Boswell's, Specialized had 2 other bikes painted in the same color scheme. One was Lauren Ten Dam's Diverge, who Boswell sprinted with to the finish, and the other was Allison Tetrick's. Boswell's Diverge has the Future Shock 2.0, and I know that's a bit controversial on this channel. Some think it's a bit gimmicky, others really like it. Though, I will say that the Future Shock 2.0 definitely did not hinder Boswell in his victory. Let's take a look at the cockpit first. Boswell has a very long 130mm stem on his Diverge. It's much longer than any stem that I would use on a gravel bike, but it likely aided him in the strong Kansas winds. Boswell also used the unusually shaped Coefficients RR carbon handlebars. The bars have 12 degrees of sweep, 15 degrees of slope, and 7 degrees of flare. All that combined really give it an aerodynamic feel, which Coefficient calls aero-ergonomic. They look really weird, but it's definitely a bar that I want to give a try. Another cool thing about the bars is it has an integrated computer mount. Inside that mount, he used a Wahoo element bolt. Oddly, Boswell didn't fully wrap his bars. He just used some sticky tape over the top of it. While I'm riding long distance, comfort in my hands is really important for me. So I don't know if I'd be able to do what Boswell did. If any of you know exactly why he did it, go ahead and leave some comments below. Now on to the feature that I like best, his mullet drivetrain. Boswell's using a SRAM Force 1 crankset with a 42 teeth chainring, coupled with Force 1 drifters. Inside the crankset is also a Quarq power meter. In the rear, Boswell has an XX1 derailleur coupled with an Eagle 1050 cassette. Provides the 500% range that he would need for a race like this. His gearage choice is pretty interesting. It's 127 on the top end, about 25 on the low end, which suggests he's a pretty strong rider in those hills and wind. Boswell's 1x setup is a pretty good option for the dramatic shifts in speed that a race like this entails. The rest of Boswell's Diverge is pretty well stocked. Boswell used a specialized power saddle attached to a Terra seat post. And over a regular carbon seat post, that Terra is worlds apart. It's really one of the best component features of the Diverge. In fact, I'm planning on using it in other bikes in my stable in the future. Boswell's bike also had the Swat compartment. All he kept in there was a mini pump wrapped in bubble wrap to prevent it from rattling around. But he opted to keep tubes and CO2 cartridges inside his camelback on his back. He has a Roval Terra wheel set with 42mm Pathfinder Pros on them. Now before I swapped them out for Gravel Kings, Kate's Diverge had the regular, very heavy Pathfinder non-tubeless versions. I kind of want to give the Pathfinder Pros a test. And this summer I'm going to be testing a lot of different tires, so I know what works for me, and so I can provide more information for you. Other than his camelback, other tools and food were kept inside a seat tube bag, and also an Apidura top tube bag, similar to the Revel 8 Designs one that I have here that has that little magnetic clip thing, so things don't fall out very easily. The magnetic top tube bag is a really good system, and I'll have a review of that Revel 8 Designs one soon. So to move on to my 2 questions, I think it's very clear that seeing somebody win on a Diverge is motivating me to consider Diverge as a bike that I'd want to ride in a race. And some of those components are intriguing me, especially those handlebars. But more importantly too, watching somebody on a Diverge, watching gravel racing again is definitely motivating me to get out there and have an adventure. And I truly hope the same is happening for you.